So you're saying a lot of this.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
I have to do that again.
Yeah. So we laid quick
Mercury
summary.
retrograde. It's okay, Brody.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so let's a quick summary. We're dealing with Morel, Morello. We're dealing with dark skin, a cherry, a Morello. Anytime you hear more, that's what we're dealing with. I gave an example about Saint Maurice. Your nationality is in your name. All right, in the name. George Washington chopping down the cherry tree, symbolic of them putting to sleep the empire and erecting the banner in the people's minds and the people's psyche. So when they think about North America, oh, I'm coming to the United States. They're not thinking about the empire. I talked about Benjamin. I talked about the George. what room I say? Benjamin. What's
About
it?
George Washington.
No,
The
Benjamin.
George
Benjamin Franklin.
Washington room.
That's what I said. George. I said George
Yeah, he
Washington
said
room.
there's a
The George
room, and
Washington
then they
room.
had the two
Or you said he
flags.
has a room.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, but it's the other guy's room actually. It's Benjamin. Um,
Ben Franklin,
Benjamin
Benjamin Franklin.
Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. Yeah,
Mm.
it's called the Benjamin Franklin room. I misspoke. So in that
Okay.
room, it's been around since the treaty. They got the flag behind me on the left, the Star Spangled Banner on the right. This room been around since the 1780s, before the Kingdom of Morocco was thought of. This flag, right? So I'm saying these things with emphasis because it's different levels of people in the chat, and this repetition is key. Because remember, we want to highlight things for the general public that they kind of know about a little bit. Like I said last week, Boston Tea Party and Jamestown, and they people are familiar with it. This K through 12, so we want to take it to another level for them and make common sense. Also, things that you're gonna run across is the Kingdom of Morocco. You from Morocco? You? No, we're not talking about the kingdom. That's a separate situation. Common sense. Like we always say, 1956, Kingdom of Morocco got created. French protectorate, the whole Middle East thing after World War One and Two, Reconstruction. If we're talking about ancient Morocco, we're talking about the Americas, where the treaty was signed in Philadelphia, New Amsterdam, between the Empire of Morocco and the Pilgrim crew, George Washington, Thomas Barclay, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams. So you need to be able to distinguish that with the general public. People are gonna show interest, but they're gonna have questions about stuff that's not making clear sense to them. But they feel where we're coming from, they like it. It's just certain things like, hold on, what's up with that flag? Morocco, ain't that over there? And we gotta be able as ambassadors to clear that up for the general public. Brother to Dupont Bay, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Um, so that's the cherry tree. So let's continue. Moors Americans are aboriginal to North, South, and Central America. Thus, distinguishing factors need to be made for the public record that Moors Americans are not Indians, because the geographical fact is that the continental America is not India. Of course, keep it simple. India is in Asia. However, Moors, Americans, Aboriginals to the continental Americas who are or where recognize self as indigenous or Indu, being the etymon of indigenous. On the same note, the original application of what is called India today is really Hindustan. In reality, the lineal and collateral consanguinity, which means bloodline, of Moors Americas aboriginal to the continental Americas is connected with the Hindustan in Asia. Book reference: History of the Moorish Empire in Europe, published by J.P. Lemcott Company in 1909, affirms the de jure history and connection of Moorish service in Hindustan military and of Moorish teaching and learning in Hindustan Asia. Kohinoor, which means the mountain of the light. So once again, like we kind of talked about last week, you want to lay the foundation. This ain't India, this America. So it's never Indians. That's the surface level, which we can't take for granted. I know we know it's repetition, but the general people need to keep hearing that. They they're severely asleep. They need to hear that. Oh, that does make sense. This was never called India. Okay. Once we get all past that, over there is not India either. The reason why we're saying that because we want to show who are the people that did the labeling. British East India Company. Oh, who did they label? The Moors in Hindustan, the Moors in the Americas, the Moors in the Philippines, what they call the Philippines. They call the Moors over there Negrito. They call the Moors in America Negro. Oh, clearly they tagged the same people, right? So that's how you want to talk with the general public. Make common sense parallels for them. We're the ones that study in the history and the law. We're the nobles. We're talking to the general public that are not in that space. We giving them the light. We raising their degrees. All right. Come ye, all Asiatics of North America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights. Why was Noble Jew Ali saying this in the 20s? Come learn about your political status and inheritance. That's what he's saying. You talking about birthright, you talking about inheritance, you talking about trust law, you talking about estate, like the brother like we was talking about when we first opened the meeting. Family trust, community trust, the state, something to pass down, making sure the people involved are competent. Family trust, son, daughter. They must be competent to keep the show going for years so they can teach their son, their daughter, daughter, son. Community trust, competent members of the organization, competent citizens of the government. It's the same thing. It's synonyms. But as this thing gets bigger and people start transitioning in the physical form, the people that's part of the nation state need to be competent to keep it going, i.e., competent on history and law. Right, same principle. Family trust or community trust. It's the same principle. Definition of nationality, of which Noble Jew Ali summoned Moors to hear the truth about because we Moors needed him. That's what we needed the truth the most. Nationality. This is coming from the Law Dictionary, by the way. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. That quality or character which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or state. Of course, we know state is a group of people occupying a fixed territory under common law. Common law dealing with treaties, constitution, and treaties. Then we have allegiance to the state. While domicile determines civil status, see the definition of quasi-national, municipal, and national domicile. So what are the distinguishing factors between quasi-national? Quasi means fake. So quasi-national would be the USA, for example, would be quasi-national because it's not a national government, it's a corporate government. They're posing as a national government, so therefore it's quasi-national. Another example. Anybody saying that they're national in origin, but the organization not talking about nationality, and the people involved in the organization don't have allegiance to the same nationality, it's not a national organization. It's either corporate or religious, at best. Strictly religious. All right. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance. We can never forget that aspect. And this is why we always talk about the skin tone games that we must not play. If we went through demonstrations, for example, I love bringing up El Yanka, Mexican revolutionary. He darker than me. So any Mexican that's in my face, and I present this information and they see it, pay homage to it. Remember, they're lighter than me though, but they're saying, "Oh, What you saying is the truth. I didn't know it, but yes, it's checking out. He's darker than you. So he's not a black man. In Spanish, we call him a moreno. Moreno. Morena. See how simple that is? To unite the people. But if you don't know that, if you don't know that, you can't explain that. If you can't explain that, you don't have a angle to unite under culture. Nation. Oh, peace and love to G Bay, Hanuna, Hanuna Bay. Yeah, peace and love. So, nation, an independent body politic, a society of men or women, because men cover both, man is mind. A society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by joint efforts of their combined strength. So that means everybody need to play a part. Then it's a nation. Everybody need to have allegiance to it. Then it's a nation. Everybody need to be bought in. Then it's a nation. Plural. Nation is plural, not singular. In honor of the Prophet Noble Jew Ali's historical divine warning of the nation, Noble Jew Ali made clear that there is no need for the application of 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of my people and citizens. And yes, because the 14th Amendment is part of the monopoly. Somebody said that earlier, the monopoly. So these are lists of reasons more Moorish Americans cannot be U.S. citizens in the law of nature. 1, Moors, Americans, same thing, are natural persons, living beings. Corporations are persons, as that word is used in the first clause of the 14th Amendment. So we're just going into detail why he's saying the 14th and 15th Amendment is not necessary for the salvation of our people in a divine order. We're just going in depth. Now we're dealing with corporations, fictions. That's what the 14th Amendment is about. When you read the first clause of the 14th Amendment, it's going to talk about corporate persons or persons distinguished from natural. So the 14th Amendment, Section 1, all persons born or naturalized, not nationalized, naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state of the state wherein they reside. So for the fact that Moors, Americans are aboriginal to the Western Hemisphere, the status of Moors, Americans cannot be circumscribed to one quasi portion of their entire ancestral estate. This is why Noble Jew Ali called on all true American citizens, opposed to only United States citizens. The reality is the land is America, not the United States. So once again, the land is North America, Mexico, Central America, South America, the adjoining islands. That's what America encompasses. Is not the United States. That would be an example of what we said earlier, pseudo-national. For these reasons, Moors, Americans cannot be considered squatters on their ancestral estate, Western Hemisphere, because we are the true possessors of the land and the law of nature. Of course, only if we are operating as a nation. But you are a squatter if it's just you in that house. And you ain't got no community with you. You ain't got nothing, no businesses, nothing that represents a nation. No community, no schools, nothing. But you just want this house. You want to squat in it. You're a
Gotta make
squatter.
that clear, man.
You're a squatter with a fez on. That's what you are. You're a squatter with a fez and turban on.
You gotta make that clear.
You gotta make it clear.
For real.
In closing, the message I raise, the point in fact that Noble Jew Ali, El Hajj Abdul Ali, was of the Cherokee tribe. So he never promoted this Back to Africa movement. Even though he did inherit 20,000 followers from the forerunner, Marcus Garvey, who did promote that. He didn't promote that. Noble Drew Ali didn't promote that. Just putting that out there. However, his declared proclaimed nationality, in fact and law, was Moorish American. All due respect to the reader's judgment, the next section of this writing is entitled to Cherokee Rolls and ties to how this text started with the concept of personal liberty and unfair monopolies in trade, as well as it correlates to the Asiatic connection to the Western Hemisphere. From the looks of the map below, with a strong arm, you could skip a rock from Alaska to Northwest Asia. So I like looking at this map because at one time it was something called the Bering Straits in Alaska, and what they call China today was connected, and it was nothing to come over here like you on a toll road or something. You just come right from China to America. It was nothing. I'm talking about not BC time either. We talking about like 1400s, 1300s.
It
Matter
just
of fact,
recently
yeah,
did that.
recently
Yeah.
in this route, matter of fact, these arrows that's coming down from China to the North America, that's the route Genghis Khan took. Because remember, Genghis Khan and the crew, Kublai and the crew, are Tartarian brothers and sisters from that side of the empire. Specifically, the Khan wanted to rule. They wanted to just conquer and have everything be under the political banner of the Khan, even if it was his own cousins. It didn't matter. So he attempted to come to the Barbary side through this way. And who'd he bring with him? The Mongolians
Mm.
to assist. What happened? He lost the war against the Barbary side. He lost, and he got sent back on his way. Who'd he leave? When he retreated, who he left? The
Mongolian.
Mongolians, the Mongolian Slavs that came to help him, right? They got stuck. Oh, y'all not part of the Taj Mahal style buildings over here in St. Louis. Y'all can't come over here. Y'all can't come to these Taj Mahal style Moorish structures, what they call Chicago. No, y'all can have these tents and teepees, and y'all can have these reservations. We ain't gonna do y'all harm or nothing. Y'all can just be here. Y'all not part of the Silk Road that connect from here to y'all can come participate in that, pay homage. We let y'all be. Later, we start going to war with the Brutish Moors and the colonization. These Mongolians start working with the Slavs that start coming over here, the Pilgrim crew, and they in cahoots now. We're going to make it seem like you guys are the original people. We're doing a conversion right now. We're doing a black Negro color thing. We're going to convince we're going to convince these people that they black Negro color. And on all the schools and the newspapers, we're going to make it seem like y'all was the original people, and they got shipped here. That's what slowly happened. So the Mongolians and so now everybody think the Mongolians is a true Americans, and we also know about the $5 Indian. That's something later else. Well, now blind hair, blue eyed people saying they Cherokee and all this stuff. So just a
Question.
little time. Yeah.
Not to play not playing the color game, but the Mongolians were they were fair in complexion to look like quote unquote Indians that they mingle with or not mingle, but did the deal with the Pilgrims? Is that what you're saying, or is that what I'm?
Yes. Yeah, the ones that look like so
Feather-
before we came across the info and we saw what an Indian looked like,
Right.
those are really Mongolians.
Those are Mongolians. And to differentiate, like you just said, Noble Drew Ali was a part of the Cherokee tribe. So the Cherokee tribes and all the other tribes like that were us, our complexion. You say they were Moors still.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And they don't want the just woolly haired, dark skinned people to be looked at as, oh, these are the indigenous people. They from Africa.
Right.
That's the Reconstruction.
I think you had referenced what's that the show? It was a show on Netflix about the Khans, and it's funny you say that because I think an episode he actually did go to war against his own his own, I think
Uncle.
his own cousin or something like that. It was pretty,
Right.
it was pretty good actually.
That's the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, Mafia.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on as well that the hybrid Europeans, they used the knowledge of knowing that we were around the world. And so what they promoted to our people is that they brought us here from Africa. We wasn't quite aware of this here in the Americas, but they had that knowledge of knowing we were all around the world. Because everywhere they colonized, they found us. And everywhere they dug and excavated, they found us. So that was part of the technology they knew that they played on us from the very beginning of just having that knowledge and using our own sacred knowledge of astrology against us as well. Anyway, I yield.
Islam. Islam.
I have one more question in regards to that. So would the pilgrim be, or two questions I would say, is the is the Slav and the Albion of the same? Are they the same? And which one
Um,
was the pilgrim?
for the
Or
so
is it not?
Slav.
They're not.
So it's it depends what context you're speaking, because the Mongolians were Slavs because of their political status under the Khan, but
Okay.
they weren't Slavic. They weren't blonde hair, blue eye. They weren't Slavic. The
Okay.
Pilgrims were Slavs and Slavic. Those are the Pilgrims.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But it's also a
They
status
were
too
Slavs because they were slaves of the Khans,
of the
but the
Khan. Yeah,
pilgrims were Slavic. Okay. Okay.
Slavic. Yeah,
The so where do Albions? Is that just another name?
that's another name for Slavic. Albion and
Okay.
Slavic is like a synonym.
Okay. There we go.
Islam.
Islam.
The term Albion comes from Europe, and if you look up Albion, you'll find out that it comes from Europe. Those
Okay.
are the real pale-skinned Europeans, are the Albions,
The
and
Albion.
you will
Albion,
see
like
it.
albino.
No, Albion, not the N and the O and the N. Albion, they come from Europe, and
I guess I was saying, does that derive from that?
yes,
Yeah, there's a
you can
term
look it up.
albino.
No, not albino.
No. I'm not saying that.
Oh.
I'm saying, does the term albino derive from the word Albion?
No, absolutely not. The word England is actually called Albion. So Albion and England is one of the same. And for the Slavs is for the peoples like in the Baltic region or the Baltic area. Those are the Slavs, are what they say is slaves today. But the Slavs are your Czechoslovakia, your Yugoslavia, your Croatians, your Russians. Those are the Slavs in the Baltic area. Always remember the Baltic area is where you find the Slavs. The Albions is where you find is the England. That's the Albions. With that, I give the floor. Peace.
Islam. Thank you. England, Albion's, Baltic area, Slav.
Appreciate that, Islam, brother. Appreciate that.
And the Pilgrims are the one that took on the Christianity religion and bastardized it. Please.
Yeah, because Christianity existed in Ethiopia a long time ago, correct? Way longer,
Right.
outdates a long, like before everything, like for real, like the origin of it, correct?
Right, but you gotta understand that it was the so-called Ethiopians or the Abyssinians that brought was part of the wave of the civilizing Europe. So when they brought their Christianity with them, they brought Christianity with them, and they brought they brought some of the castles with them, but they also brought what is the word for it? They I can't find the word for it. Anyway, they the ones that set up the first kingdoms in Europe. Was the Ethiopians or or what they call Ethiopians today. They set up the first kingdoms. With that, I yield the floor.
Yeah. I just wanted to add on. Also, keep in mind that Christianity started out as a political group. It was a political group called the Christendoms, right? And this was brought on by Niceno Constantinople, and he was the one that orchestrated the whole Morisco changing over of Moors being converted into Christianity there in Al-Andalus, excuse me. But I yield the floor to as well.
Wow. And, since that kind of space got brought up, I think it's good to understand that back to the noble families of Europe. We're saying the noble families of Europe. We're talking about melanated Moors. Back to Saint Marie, we're talking about 3rd century. When we fast forward to the Abyssinians, so remember Haile Selassie he was a Abyssinian emperor. He was Haile Selassie. We're talking about not too long ago. So think about how long melanated people been really in rule and using the Slavs as torpedoes or front men. And since we don't know this information, we blaming the quote unquote white man for our demise.
Right.
But the Haile Selassie and the crew is why our people in Jamaica is Christian. Dogmatic Christian. They look at Haile Selassie as Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because he like rewrote the Ethiopian text, the scripts. He rewrote it into what his version of it is. I do know that.
Right. So, that's another layer. That's another layer,
But
degree.
he's also supposed to be of the bloodline of King David and King Solomon and Yeshua have the same bloodline supposedly. So that's why they render him as their Yeshua, because they laid eyes on him. He's in the flesh with the Yeshua that everyone else speaks of. No one has a recollection of what he looks like or whatever, except that famous quote in the scripture. You understand? So, like, it's a lot to it why they render him as their Yeshua. You know what I'm saying? And I use
Yeah, Islam. No, yeah. And just to the bloodline thing, we all got the blood. I got the bloodline of Yahshua too. You feel me? See where I'm going with this?
you got to break that down a little more, Marv, because, like, from my understanding, you know what I'm saying, it's like the direct descendant, like, of King David and King Solomon. Yeshua is as well, and Selassie is supposed to obviously be in that direct bloodline. So what the comment you just made, yeah, break that down a little more so I can have an understanding of that.
Right. If so, we're talking about bloodline. Melanated people have an O-type blood. Yahshua was melanated with woolly hair. He's from the O-type bloodline, obviously. His grandmother being Ruth the Moabitess, so he's a Moabite, which means he was a Moor. And then when you trace the lineage of the Moors, and so Yahshua had a location where he was at, like in the Bible that say Yahshua was here. He traveled in this area, right? So all them was Moors. All that area he was traveling, especially at that timeline, he was part of the Moorish Empire. He was just one of our people that was like, look, man, y'all need to stop turning y'all Roman ways that y'all been developing. Let's get back to this ancient customs. The same thing we're doing now. But that's it. I still come from the same bloodline he come from. You know what I mean?
Oh, so I'm thinking the whole time that, like, he related, like like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really a blood. That's what I thought the term bloodline really meant. In this sense, it's like you related to the person that you're speaking of. You know what I'm saying?
That's why they try to make it spooky like that. That's why I'm saying it like how I'm saying it to expose the spookiness that's not necessary. You know what I mean? It's simply I was from the same bloodline. But for me to start walking around here, I'm the direct descendant of whoever. I'm the guy.
That's
That's
Islam,
gone.
not
Islam.
that's not, you know what I mean? But my main point was to say too, before we get too off, was he was also the king of Italy. In Italy, they looked at him as, one of the noble families of Italy. Now remember, is if he's from Abyssinia, most people know Ethiopia, and he was the emperor of Abyssinia, but he's another hat he's wearing is the king of Italy. Another hat he's wearing is the saint of Jamaica. And also remember, how did the Romans get created? What were they before Roman? Abyssinian, Cushite. Our Cushite brothers and sisters that turn Abyssinian or turn Ethiopian, those are the Romans. Those were the first Romans. They brought Coptic Christianity to the table. The first, the whole Byzantine gateway before it turned Roman. It was, you know what I mean? So that's why it makes sense that what I just said, because those are people that use the blonde hair, blue eyes Slavs as torpedoes to go to war with anybody that they call Saracen or Heathen or still has sultans. So this was the infighting, or the Roman Moors against the old world Moors, that still had the empire intact. It wasn't with that pedophilia, secret society, manipulating the people so I can be in control. You know what I mean? Am I still alive?
Yeah, you still here.
Yeah.
You good? I'm just listening, Bob. I'm listening.
Okay. No, the screen had just disappeared. But so yeah, we had Moors that were into that stuff. So we have to understand who sent the Slavs, who sent the Slavic people to do all this. We looking at these popes and we thinking it's all blind. The Caucasians is the Caucasian
Started with
got
us,
sent. They
or
got sent by us, you know what I mean? But I wanted to emphasize that. So because that remember, when we talking with the general public, all this needs to be comprehended and articulated.
So you saying like Haile Selassie is not no type of relation to King Solomon and Queen of Sheba's son that they had together that she took back to the land of Sheba, which is now modern day time Ethiopia, correct? So
Right.
like he not related to their child or nothing like that. It's just he's of a bloodline of a melanated people. That's basically
Right.
what you're saying, right?
Yeah. But what you're saying was true too in the beginning. It's just from that type of tip though, from the old type bloodline. It's not like nothing more than just like me, you are
you're
too.
more so
You know
being
what I
an
mean?
ancestor, right? Like,
Yeah, that's the ancestor.
yeah,
You know what I mean? He clearly one of the ancestors. You can look at the phenotype. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I lost my page. Man. Any other thoughts on that? I'm trying to find this page. So it disappeared. If I don't find it fast enough, then we're gonna go back to that Q&A we was on last week.
Where does the Anunnaki Jews fit in this equation? Because when Jesus was doing his thing, he flipped the tables on them. The Romans was the society for sure, but the priestcraft was the Jews. So where do they fit in the whole Albion white picture? You don't mind me asking, Chief?
So the Albions that okay, so think about it like this. Remember, we had their women as our harem. The men were our Slav, the grunt workers. But some of them we gave high science to. We gave them the science. Those are the ones that created the lodges because they got so enlightened. They was like, oh man, so amongst their crew, they the man. You know what I mean? They the head Slav amongst they the most brilliant Slav. Like, I got this divine info from the mothers and fathers of civilization. They lace me. You know what I'm saying? So they coming back to their people, misrepresenting stuff. They got the uncut knowledge, but now they coming back from mind control to manipulate because they know a little more than the rest of the crew. and they're making it signs and symbols now. Now they sign. That's why even to this day, we go to the lodge, masonries and the architecture and the signs and symbols. They're not outright just giving you the raw information. So that was the kind of like the beginning of that. If that kind of makes sense.
Hey,
Was that your
Ma,
question? Did I
hey,
answer your
Ma,
question?
my bad, my bad, my bad. Go ahead.
Did I
Yes
answer
and
your
no.
question?
Yes and no, because when I was doing some research on the Jews and basically like what they believe in, and they believe that like they're the
Oh, that's what you asked. I answered it. Hey man, I answered a whole different. I'm thinking I'm thinking you talk about the lie. You say how so the Ashkenazi Jew,
yeah.
when you say Ashkenazi in front of it, that's the whole point. You're saying Ashkenazi. So that distinguishes uh I forgot what it called, start with an S. Sephardic. Yeah, Sephardic. You're distinguishing the Sephardic from the Ashkenazi. When you're saying Sephardic Jew, now you're talking about melanated people that was connected to the Moorish Empire. Those are the Jews that got expelled from Spain, right? Expelled from Portugal. Those are just the Moors, right? So now later, the people that have colonized and the Slav that have been allowed to, stick around, um, they calling themselves the Jews now, but their practices are different.
Yeah, they're complete. Like some of the like texts I was reading in some of their texts, and some of it is crazy. So I just and it's like Judaism is like they said they used it as a tool to combat all of the pagan beliefs, quote unquote pagan beliefs of the time. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, what are they going against? They say they're going against anybody who knows the stars, anybody who um worships who's under Jesus Christ. Like these beings are like part of the science. So my question is like, okay, where do they get their like? I know you said that they're the fake, like they're the fake Jews, but where do they get all their like status in the world from? Because if you look at some of the families, you can even look at like the people who have positions in the United States right now. They have dual citizenship in Israel and here, so they're a powerful group, but their basis is fake or their basis is not real. So I just wanted to understand like inner and overstand like what are they in terms of the white? Are they Albion or are they Slav? Like what are these
Yeah.
people and why do they have so much power?
Okay, so those are the Slavs, for one, to answer your question. They have so much power because of Reconstruction, and they control the media outlets. So what you can see and hear, they have control over. So if a baby is born in these zones that are under control, um, also they control the curriculum of the school for a long time. The General Education Board, because these are Jesuits. When you're saying Bill Gates, Bill Gates' grandfather and John D. Rockefeller, these are Jesuits. Jesuit is an agent of Rome, officer of Rome. When you talk about papal bull directives, you're talking about, oh, go intentionally water down the indigenous people's history and everything. They don't know their culture. That's in play. So that's why they have so much power because people grow up in a society with ignorance. And now you have a small community of people on the world that know what's really going on. Most of the people are asleep. So that's why they're able to get away with what they get away with. But once the people start thinking like, hold on, I got this information, they get the light, they start shaking the fog off. It's like, oh, and we the majority? It ain't even that many of them. We outnumber them and everything. We just gotta get our act together. That's what kind of happens. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, hopefully I answered it, Brother Brian. Um,
Appreciate it.
I got a
Brother Hassan,
question, Mark.
you got it, Hassan.
All right, so I need to really understand which one of Noah's sons are we the descendants of, and which one of Noah's sons are the Slavs descendants of?
Noah's sons. So we're the descendants of any human species that lived the earth. Um, that's just what it is. The first humans on planet Earth were melanated. Then you had a flood that took place. But remember, when you're looking at these stories, it's not to look at it like, oh, everything on Earth was just destroyed and it was no humans left and it was just a restart. That's how that's they're called cataclysms, which means there were earthquakes that caused floods and catastrophes and land masses to separate. Atlantis, the land of Mu, what they call Pangea. Why would they call Africa is not connected to South America and Florida right now, as an example. But to say that, okay, the reason I'm saying is like that because yeah, there were floods and stuff, but that was on one part of the planet. It was other parts that were intact, and people we were traveling back and forth. So that doesn't just erase a bloodline of people. Um, if that's why you brought up that scenario. So I guess to make it simple, if you melanated, you O type. We all come from that. Now the Slavs got created. That was a that was something that happened in Central America. Um, Frankenstein, the Doctor Alan Moreau are all movies that symbolize this creation of the Albion with the troglodyte nigger, which is a strand of monkey, and the mobile woman. Um, it's too hot. It's too hot in Central America. That's right where the equator is at. So we had to ship them to a colder part of the planet, which is under the jurisdiction of Queen Europa. That's why they're even called European. Europe, that's not Europe. That's Asia Minor. That's the Iberia Peninsula. That's not Europe. We just
So
say
the
that.
story, so the story of civilization being replenished on the earth through his three sons is false. Is that what you're saying?
It's not false, but it's not to be taken so literal to the point that you thinking his three sons populated the earth. It was already populated.
So you
That
saying the great flood only happened in one part of the whole earth. Other parts of the earth was not touched by this wrath or whatever you call it.
right.
Other parts of the earth were in peace and in line with everything, but it was just this part of the earth that was corrupted. So that's why it happened. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and there were other floods later too. That wasn't the only one. There were it was you know what I mean that's just the most famous story, I guess. Um, and then when you start talking about what Noah's Ark, the actual boat, how many birds he had in the cage, how many he had animals with him. These animals is 12 animals on the boat. Right now we're talking about the zodiac, right? Talk about it, all this stuff. It's so many layers to the Bible um, that we just have to analyze. It's not, you know what I mean? Um, I guess it's just what
Not to
angle
be
do we look?
taken, it's not to be taken in a literal sense. You need to like really, really analyze the things that you read in the scripture. I get it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. So I think
but I, I sometimes wonder, like I know about the council and everything, and how they didn't put certain books in the Bible, but like when you read and dibble and dabble in those books, it kind of like takes your perspective for a curve. You know what I mean? So I just was asking that question, but you answered that question, so I appreciate that, Islam.
mhm. Yeah, it's lying. I feel like Larry Bailey wanted to chime in. But or you just had your mic on? Okay, nah, maybe it was. I just see people when they might be unmuted that they wanted to say something. All right,
Is-
so let's
Islam,
you got
brother, can I say something?
oh Islam, go you got it.
Islam, everybody, peace and love. Honors to the brother and the sister online, sharing your knowledge, and everybody that's tuning in and sharing their knowledge. I just want to share something with y'all just to get y'all thinking. As far as the monomers, right, that we are using for the pale skin nations or the melanated nations, I feel like Allah is perfect, right? And I feel like we are living in these times and these days for a reason. And I don't really care what skin tone my brother or my sister is because I feel like we all got everything. We're hold on. Wait, let me finish talking, okay? I'm sorry, I'm with the children. But I get it, and I understand that there is knowledge and scientifical basis and things, and you know what I'm saying, and things like that will help us learn and things about our different melanated or pale skin nations, right? But I think that we need to just focus on, right, like no discrediting what we're talking about, right? I'm not trying to discredit what you guys, the knowledge that you guys are bringing, but I feel like it's just a monomer. Like, it's just okay, that's the pale skin nation and they did this and the Albions or whatever, but I feel like God is perfect, and I feel like we know that they come from us, right? The Europeans, the pale skin nation, they come from us. We created, I mean, the mother, the woman, any melanated woman can have any skin tone. So if you grew up over there where the sun don't shine as bright or whatever, and you paler than the melanated, we all still equal. We all still human beings, right? It's just monomers and language and things that have been put on our people. And as far as the Jewish brothers and sisters, let me speak on that real quick, because I have a lot of Jewish friends, and I deal with the Jews as a Moorish American. Right. I feel like the reason why they're blessed right now is because, right, or why they hold power, or why whatever like is going on, is because they hold to their principles in their religion, right? Like, I don't know a broke Jewish. I'm in LA at the moment. I don't know no broke Jewish. I mean, like, because if you Jewish and you sit in your community, they're gonna help you. They're gonna say, "Oh, you a brother, you a sister. Okay, what do you do? All right, I'm gonna take you over here and we're gonna do this." But the reason why they really hold the power is because they're bankers when they first came from wherever. Because mind you, we don't even know where they came from. They're still fighting for their land, and because they're in America, handling their business, attending to their people, they're making bread and they're sending it to wherever America said, okay, this is Israel, right? This is where Israel is, or I'm sorry, not Israel, Jews, the Jews. I'm sorry, it's a lot going on in my background, but I will say this: they are very wealthy, and I always say this: my Allah is perfect. So when I see my brother and my sister doing well, I study and learn with them. Like, dang, so what y'all doing different that we not doing? Because they done came over here and destroyed our mental, right? In our public school system here in America, the melanated child, right, in the school system, you are torn down, broken at the most earliest age, at preschool. You know why? Because they're gonna give you Black History Month, and you looking at your skin like, hold on, wait a minute. So our people wasn't nothing here in this land. When that's just the story for the European pale baby, because they're thriving in America, right? They're thriving. So the public school system was really for them to thrive, but it's not fair. And I will pose this question too. In every religion, in every last one of them, there's a man who created, right? Buddhism, Islam, Christianity. I feel like all of that was created to discredit the woman's power. And I'm not putting my man down, because we are equal, right? Men and women, we are equal. You are not more smarter than me. I am not more smarter than you. But at the end of the day, why is all the religions ran by men when women, we are mother, we are the divine that brings, right, the children onto this planet. We are, God chose us, but without the man, I can't bring no child. So without your seed, right, without you seeding me, I can't bring the future, or the next generation. So we need each other. But I pose to say this: like, I'm struggling with my Moorish religious connection, not connection, because I know it's real and I know that the prophet came for a reason and all of that. But now I'm like straying away from Moorish science. And no, I'm here because I'm trying to feed myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm here because I'm like, damn, I do miss being a Moorish American and going to Sunday school. And there's a reason why I'm not doing that anymore. But at this moment, I'm struggling with, why is it always a man, right? Like, why every prophet, was a man. And why are they trying to discredit the women in our power? Are they trying to sit us to the back? Are they trying to quiet us? Like, I'm really like, dang, is the woman supposed to be the head of state? Like, because when in our Morris 101s in our books, right, when we look at the prophet, he's holding a woman when it says we are here to uplift fallen humanity, right? It's a woman he's holding. And it's like that they drowned our women. They silenced us. They put us to the back when we are supposed to be head of state because we are fair. We worried about our children. We just imagine this, pose this question. What if it was all women ruling these countries? What if it was a woman president sitting at these tables? Do you think we'll be at war? Do y'all think we'll be killing and doing all these things? I'm not saying there ain't no bad women out there, but I think more so we'll be a little bit calmer on these waters. I think that we will focus on the children and the babies in the future. And okay, which y'all don't got? All right, let me bring that over there to you. Instead of who got power and who the biggest macho and who got the biggest guns and the big, you know what I'm saying? I'm just giving y'all some insight that be going on in my mind and why I'm pulling away from religion in this whole, because I feel like, dang, what if they create a religion to discredit the women's power, right? And I'm not trying to take away from the man's power. I'm just saying, like, our intellect, our intuition, our power as far as our connection with the divine, right? I question that. And so I'm kind of like battling myself, like, dang, let me go with my brothers. Let me see what my brothers and sisters got to think about that. Like, right. And I just want y'all to, I'm here because I'm with my brothers. And I ain't been with my brothers and sisters in a minute, with my family in a minute. I kind of fell back because I'm going through some things internally, mentally, and physically in my world that kind of threw me off of more science a little bit. And so that's why I'm here. I'm just trying to feed my spirit.
Hello.
Wanted to share those thoughts. I yield the floor, brothers.
Islam, and
Yeah.
I appreciate those words and that vulnerability that you are sharing. And just to answer a couple of the points that you were bringing up, yeah, you said that you took you must have been in my head because I thought about Noble Joe Ali bringing the woman out of the cares of the world in the demonstration on the back of the 101s. In these times, our women are under attack. Back to the social media, back to the world that we living in North America is under a Rome. Most people have Roman minds. So our women are hyperly sexualized. Our women it's man versus woman. All the music, the Cardi B, Sexy Red, all the what they promote on TV, the homosexuality creates a divide with the balance between man and woman. Most religions, I don't care if it's Christian, modern Christianity, modern Islam, being a Muslim, it's all patriarchal from the top. It's been ran by the lodge. It just looks like it's a different religion. Now, more science is going to come from the point of really what it's supposed to be about, And like you said, man and woman is not one who's better than who's better. It's about what traits does both have to come together to bring that harmony, which is expressing the as above, so below, and the yin and the yang. We're supposed to know the point of knowing yourself as a man or a woman is to understand your gifts, which you are here to present to the world, and which you need to be around to bring the best version of yourself. So that's what the man and woman is supposed to be. Man and woman, that union is going to purge. Man and woman are going to purge and expose what you need to work on disciplinary wise. For one. So now when you bring that into government structure or community structure, it's going to thrive. I know people are jaded. I can't speak for all Moorish institutions, how they do stuff in more other temples. I can't speak on that. I could just speak on what I know is supposed to be. And what's supposed to happen is what you just said. You as a woman came in, spoke your piece, and we're supposed to resonate behind that. Continue to get the lessons. Maybe you might be part of the community. Maybe you might get a different vibe from maybe the other Moorish paradigm you was in or the Moorish body politic whoever. It doesn't matter. But if it's good vibes, continue to build, and you still are more. Maybe you had a bad experience. But if man or woman, if they got their head screwed on straight and they're ready to be an asset to the community, to the nation, it is what it is. If you're competent, you're gonna speak. You're gonna do lectures. You're gonna do missionary work. Are you competent or not? It don't matter what you're a man or woman. I just think it's more men that are willing to do the missionary work compared to women. But I advocate we need the women. We need competent women. That's gonna make our move. Let me talk about CJ the same. Yeah, we were talking with brother CJ. If we had more women on the scene, competent and head screwed on straight, how with the vision of how this is supposed to be, the floodgates are gonna open up. We'll have communities in no time, and the women are gonna set the standard. So because now, all women want now is men with culture and humility and community building, and that's the standard. I gotta get my act together. Now men gonna do what they see that the women want to even qualify to even be with them or be around them. That's just women is that powerful. That is what needs to be comprehended, and that takes a humility. Yeah, the man will have to be humble to understand that nature is an action. But the key is that the woman is competent. Right now, like the picture with Noble Joe Ali, there, most of our women are in the cares of the world. So the men that are on point, got to get them to a point where they on point, and they're gonna bring more women to be on point. And now we're talking about now we cooking. Now we cooking. And I'm just speaking from the jurisdiction of Khalifa society. I can't speak for most more science temples, and I'm not gonna speak on it. But you got something, Larry Bay?
Yes. I wanted to add on to what the discussion is about. So the women are the matriarch. We know that, and men are the patriarch. So in time, men hijack the matriarch from the women and instill their ways of life, right? And that is actually against nature. And then secondly, most of our adversaries, they understand that the science, more science in dealing with the number 9, and then you're dealing with the wound, and they clearly understand that if you can control the wound in the woman, you can control a nation. And this is where some of the misconnectors come between our people as well, is that they are not only controlling our women, but they're controlling the wound. And this is what is has proliferated into our society, has permeated within our society today, leading to the great divide that we have currently. I just wanted to add that in, and I yield.
Yep. And that it symbolized in most of the lodges, most of the Shriners, they got the moon facing down with the scimitar over the moon, symbolizing cutting off the matriarchal principle. Because, like you say, man and woman creates the seeds, the nation. There's no community if there's no women. So I want to add that in there as well.
Correct, and the woman is very delicate, and the woman is a nurturer by nature. You know what I'm saying? And I understand what the sister was saying. Like, she's got a very valid point. Like, all throughout history, besides of what we learned through more science, that there was a matriarch at one time, just like Brother Larry mentioned. But all throughout, what we see, it's a man running the show. And I mean, I understand where she coming from, but I kind of like feel a little bit like it's more of a protective thing to, like, you know what I'm saying? Because we need the woman's intuition. You know what I'm saying? She whispers in our ear, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Well, her caring nature, it might be a snake before her, but her caring nature, she's been blessed by the Most High to be caring and be nurturing and be loving. She'll see past something that a man might not see past. A man will like straighten it out right there, and she might be the one that give him a chance. And he might be a smoker, he might be, you know what I'm saying, a ill person. You know what I'm saying? There's certain factors. I don't think it's a disrespectful thing. I don't look at it as that, because I'm my wife's protector. Like, if we're somewhere and something happens, I want her to be behind me. You understand what I'm saying? Like things of that nature. If anything goes down, type thing. That's all I'm trying to say. And I yield the floor. Y'all are nurturers by nature. You know what I'm saying? Y'all love by nature. It's in you. You carry the baby for 9 months, and you already have the connection. Like y'all love by nature. That's the best way I can describe it. I can't put it into words for real of what I mean and what I'm trying to say. But just understand that, Queen, as you keep your journey. You know what I'm saying? We value the woman as our partner, as our, everything, in this society. We do not put women, you know, lower than us or things of that nature. You see the Sheik and his queen are right next to one another, giving us a presentation every Sunday, smiling. Everything's good. You see their beautiful connection. So I hope this motivates you to stay in the more science, and I yield the floor.
Wow.
Islam.
Islam.
That was beautiful. Beautiful. Um, so where we left off last week was question 31 with the Q&A. And fundamental basics to some. But once again, the fundamentals need to be in the front of our mind when we're talking with people. Who was George Washington? And was he the first president of the United States? Answer. George Washington was an Englishman and was appointed as the 9th president for the United States Republic of North America in the year 1789. Who was John Hanson? And was he the first president of the United States? Answer. John Hanson was elected the first president for the United States Republic in the year 1781. Was John Hanson a Moor? Many have said John Hanson was a thoroughblooded Moor, Moabite Mer. Others have said that he was an amalgamated Moor, meaning he was mixed with the Albion or European. What does the Iroquois Confederation have to do with the United States Constitution? What does the Iroquois Constitution have to do with the United States Constitution? Keep in mind that the Iroquois comprises a confederation body politic of Moorish tribes of the Northwest Territory comprised of the titles Ali, Bey, El, Dey, and Al of the noble Moors. Iroquois is not a single Aboriginal tribe and means the real Adars. Concerning the derivative contemporary union, the Articles of Association, the Articles of Confederation, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution of the United States Republic of North America in 1789 has its origin from the ancient Moorish connection or Moorish constitution principles and derived from the law of the great peace, which is Islam. So the great law of Islam, the great law of peace, same thing. This social political history and law connection is also why the ancient Great Seal Pyramid is displayed upon the back of the dollar bill or Federal Reserve note. The Great Seal Pyramid is the insignia of the Moorish nation, the Moroccan Empire. In many of the long houses of the Iroquois, the Europeans were taught masonry, which is scientific moral government. So that's why I was telling the brother Brian, some of the Slavs we gave what they call masonry. We gave a couple of them high science. But most importantly, when you hear about the Iroquois Confederation, they're going to make it seem like it was just a 5 civilized tribes that came together. But these was Moorish tribe that came together and taught the pilgrims how to organize amongst themselves, how to run government, right? It would be no Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson elected as plenipotentiary or president for their crew if it wasn't for them studying the Moors that was already here, organizing in their government structure, their constitution, our constitution. They took principles of our stuff and utilized it. Oh, we need to run stuff like they doing it, like the landlords is doing it. So we need to know that. We need to comprehend that. What is the oldest language on earth? The oldest language known. Let me check the chat. I see something in the chat. Yes. So the clan mothers. Um, so in the chat, wasn't they women head of state? So yes. So the chief, we call them sheiks. They're going to commercialize it as chief. Ancient languages, it's called sheik. English, chief. The sheiks or chiefs were elected by the council of women. When you look up, and whoever wants to overview the Iroquois Confederation Constitution, just look it up. Just Google Iroquois Confederation Constitution PDF. It shows you the Constitution. It's going to show how the clan mothers, the women, elected the chiefs.
Could
And
you
this
put that
wasn't
in
in
the
BC.
chat? It's Islam. I'm sorry. I don't know how to spell Iroquois.
Oh,
I'll try to. You went down or move the screen.
oh, here we go.
Can we copy and paste it?
So Iroquois, let me just
Are you able to like click on it and copy it?
what?
Are you able to copy that and paste it into the chat from here?
Oh well, first of all, can everybody Yazir Bey, can you see Iroquois right here? When I question 34? Yazir Bey?
Sorry. Yeah. I wrote it down. It's called the Confederation, though, right? Iroquois Confederation or Constitution?
Constitution.
Okay.
So
Constitution.
it's the Constitution of the Confederation.
Oh, it's the Constitution of the Confederation.
No, I'm just telling you that, but you can Google it by saying Iroquois Constitution PDF. But I'm
Okay.
just letting you know that the Iroquois was a confederation, meaning 5 tribes or 5 nation states or 5 clans formed a union together. That's what a confederation is.
Okay.
And while I'm talking about that, that shows you the trick bag. They want to make you look like, oh, the Confederate flag is racist. The Confederate, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We are the Confederate. It would be no Confederate if it wasn't for the Moors. We formed confederations. We formed alliances. Right.
Man,
So
the
they
more I
got you running
learn, everything is upside down. Everything that we've
everything up.
been.
Exactly.
Hey, Mafi, hey, just right quick, isn't that the concept of the Articles of Confederation? Isn't that
Exactly.
based on the Iroquois Confederation themselves?
Exactly. The reason they called it a confederation, the reason they used the word Articles of Confederation, because they saw the Moors Confederation. They didn't even know what a confederation was. You know what I mean? So, but yes, that was a good keen eye on that. But yeah, exactly, precisely.
Mhm.
So the Articles of Confederation, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution itself, all because they observed how we conducted ourselves, how we organized.
Mm. Like you said, they elected the sheiks. The women of the council elected the sheiks, and it just went down from there.
Right. Yeah, in our case, yeah, our structure, yeah. When you read that document on the Iroquois Confederation, I mean Iroquois Constitution PDF, you're gonna see, I think it's like Article 49 or something. But read the whole thing. It's gonna talk about how the clan women elected the sheiks. It was a council of women. They were the seers of the government, the warners, right? Because somebody talked about the intuition of the women earlier, but that's exactly reusing. That's zodiac constitution principles. You're using natural gifts to run the government. People within a natural position. We need the women. We need intuition. So that's an aspect that we need. Any other questions before I continue? Or statements or whatever. All right. What is the oldest language on Earth? The oldest language known on Earth is classical Sanskrit, which fostered the modern science of descriptive linguistics or etymology. The multiple Prakrit dialects found prevalent in the ancient Mauryan dynasty of the Old Parrot or Hindustan including many geographical areas having Sumerian influence. These ancient natural people are Moors. So, a couple things in this Q&A that I want to highlight. For one, when you look up any word, you're going to say if it's Old English, if it's Arabic, is it Latin, is it Sanskrit, is it New English? Based on that, that lets you know what time period the word even got created. So that's why I tell people Black, 1500, talking about Middle English, Old English, just simple stuff like that, right? So when you look up the word God, in English, it's going to say what most people think it is. But once you take it back to the etymology dictionary, it's going to be like, oh, back in Sanskrit, it was called huta, which means to invoke. Right? That's how you take a scientific approach. And also, Sanskrit was prevalent during the Mauryan dynasty, the Moors that had the sultans and emperors in the area called India and Pakistan today. Before the British East India colonization, the emperors and sultans over there, fez and turbans over there, that whole area, Mauryan dynasty. We spoke Sanskrit in that area. We spoke Latin as well. We spoke Arabic as well. Right? We're not just Moors, not just boxed in. I want to just throw that out there.
So would it still be Sanskrit would be the oldest language then, even as far as in the world?
Yeah, as far as when we start using like how we're talking right now, and then we use that we can write it down.
Yeah.
That type of
Oh, okay.
So
And I had a question in regards to I just heard on a like early when I started getting into more science, I believe it was Taj Tariq Bey has said the word God is an acronym. Government ordinance department or something like that. Is that have any
Yeah.
weight
Now
to it?
that now what I spoke of was an etymology definition. What you're speaking of is a political body that's running the show a certain way. So back to the Jesuits.
Mhm.
So the God is a Jesuit program. This is a sign of the program that it's an activation.
Mhm.
Big time preacher, Joel Osteen, for example.
Yeah.
He know the information we're talking about as it pertains to Christianity. But he's going to promote it just like any other commercial church. He's participating in the government ordinance department. The lawyers, the preachers, the judges, in cahoots. They're all participating in the God program. Because remember, the acronym O means ordinance, right? We're talking about penal codes, ordinance, and statutes now.
Okay.
Governing the people under that.
Keeping them in order.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of the space with that, yeah.
That makes sense. But in etymology, it means to invoke.
Invoke. The word's not even. You got something, everybody?
No.
Was that Brian? Okay.
My bad. I just wanted to add, if Sanskrit's the oldest language, in terms of like etymology use, would it be useful to our scholarly work to study, the basics of Sanskrit, not to be fluent in it because there's no like speaking it as of today, but as far as like to be able to trace old words, to be able to highlight civilizations when they did occur, and look for clues and stuff of that nature. Would it be useful to like put work into learning that language or learning some of it?
Yeah. I think a start would be just actually looking up a word. Matter of fact, let's just do a little exercise.
Right, because you're right. Even when you look up
etymology word. The older the word, it goes to they'll say Proto-Indo-European. That would be like the root, the closest root. And that'll take you to Sanskrit.
Right. And remember, I don't know if you was on, but we talked about indigenous, the root word Indu. So when you saying Proto-Indo-European, you're talking about the original sense of the word, how it was spelled and what it meant prior to today and stuff like that. And prototype. So you're talking about the earliest form of the word. So let's just do a quick little lesson so we can just see what I mean here.
Nice.
So this is an etymology. Why is it all these pop-ups?
Oh man.
They're gonna pop up crazy. They want that juicer. We ordered it. We ordered a juicer the other day, last month or something. So it's all in the algorithm.
Dang.
Yeah. That's crazy, ain't it?
I like how you put it with a timeline. It with that etymology dictionary or website put a timeline to Sanskrit, Old English. Would it always put a timeline to each language, or was that
Yes.
something we have to do further
Yeah.
research? Yeah.
No, that's the whole point. Because the timeline is going to tell you. I mean, the language is going to tell you the timeline.
Right.
So just look up what's the timeline of Middle English. What's the timeline of
Yeah.
Sanskrit? What's the timeline of Latin? They're going to give you a timeline.
Timeline. Okay.
Yep. So now you know. Back to the word black. Just in grammar, it can't. It's such a new word because it's Old English or something like that. So that means we're talking about 1500s and 1600s where this word even came out. Why does it keep doing it?
That's why they say ancient and black don't even it can't, it don't even make sense. Oxymoron.
Right. And it means pale in etymology.
Correct. Yeah.
You can close out of this, but don't touch that. You can close this. Just.
And black grammatically is incorrect because if you're a person, a human being is a noun, right? And black in the English term, it's what is it? An adverb? It
Adjective.
describes, an adjective. There you go. It describes a noun. So just grammatically, even in English, it's wrong.
Right. Yep. And that now we're talking about that's like 6th grade arithmetic now. What we're talking about. We're talking about parts of speech and stuff. See how simple? Now,
break it all down.
Now look at the word God. This is what it means in Old English. Supreme being, deity, Christian God, image of God, godlike person. Then it takes you to the Proto-Germanic, a little bit older. German's a little bit older than English. Tad bit, right? It's not even called God no more. It's called something else. Right? Now let's take it all the way, like the brother said, PIE. Well, now we know what pi means. Proto-Indo-European. It was called gut. That which is invoked. Now let's take it to Sanskrit, even older. Huta. It's not even called God. It's Huta. To invoke. Invoked. God means to invoke. It's not the creator of the heavens and the universe. Everybody on this chat has the power to invoke, to manifest.
Well, it's an action other than a noun.
It's an action. There you go. It's an action. It's an action.
Yeah, just like the term hell, right? God, as you just demonstrated, has nothing to do with some kind of figure above us in the skies or anything like that. Just like hell is basically, I believe it's a dungeon for I'm flaming.
It's a chamber. It's a chamber underneath the church.
Yeah, there you go. It's a chamber beneath the church for debtors.
Yeah, for the Pope.
That's what
the Pope's church.
Right. There you go.
The term hell.
Yeah.
Or are you gonna go to hell? Dang.
Yeah, that was a dungeon under the Catholic Church in Rome.
Yeah. For debtors.
Debtor prison.
Spooky, huh? Spookified.
So, before you leave the subject, I love that you talked about the Sanskrit meaning because I did that little etymology look through before, And to invoke is to use your voice, like you're speaking into existence. So I was thinking, okay, we're still I'm on the subject of God, and in the Bible they say that in the beginning, God was with the Word, and the Word was with God. So I was thinking, okay, what is this word? So I found, what is it? The tetramammon or something like that. It's in the Jewish text. They say it's so holy they don't use its name, but the words are like YHYH. I'm not sure if you understand, you know what I'm talking about, but if you
Yeah.
speak that term, is that the invocation of quote unquote God?
Yeah. So yeah, that's you. Because when you're saying then there was the word, all you're saying is it was a thought, then it became something I'm going to express, then it became something that you're going to write down, then it's going
Right.
to come something that you actually complete, right? That's God. The process of invoking and manifesting.
So that
Uh,
word scheme, that what is that? What's the purpose of them having those words as the because they have the alphabet too that's specialized for their understanding of things. So I just wanted a little clarification on that real fast, and then we can move on.
oh no, your intuition, you pretty much answered your question. What you're explaining in the tetra, I got dyslexia this morning, but the tetra, whatever it's called, that Y word that you're talking about, that's the same thing as expressing. Then it was the word. It's the same concept basically.
Okay, so it's just their cultural way of saying the same thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. So we got 30. Okay. 36. Was so-called white people slaves first to black people or Moors? And when they came fought for their freedom, did white people turn around and make slaves of all the so-called black people, or are people or all people and erase most of story and history? I feel like that was a rough one, huh?
That was
Yeah. I think they maybe
Couple
wrote that a
typos.
little weird. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we get the point. Answer. The android hybrid offspring or children of Yakub. So this what before I continue here. Now let me finish this whole paragraph. I'll just summarize out on the back end. So the android hybrid offspring or children of Yakub, referred to modernly as Jacob, are Paleolithic man or Europeans. They were later called the children of Israel because Yakub's name was changed to Israel by Mer-Lu-Akin El, the last high priest scientist of the Moabite nation. Ancient Central Africa, which is today Central America. The hybrid android children of Israel were decreed to be Slavs of Babylonia or the Moroccan Empire for 360 years, from 8:36 a.m. to 11:96 a.m. And absent of Islamic rights by Hammurabi Bey, the first sultan of the Moorish nation, Moroccan Empire of ancient Central Africa or Central America. And this is the true historical basis of the karmic breach that is the origin or roots of the hostile so-called race caste politics of the modern day world. These chronologies or dates correspond to 1416 and 1776 Christian calendar year. Therefore, it is without doubt that the Moors must be told the truth about the Masonic histories of themselves. So a couple of things I want to break down in this paragraph, or emphasize rather. When we're saying Israel, somebody brought up, I think it was a sister that brought up the Jews and how they send the money to Israel or whatever. I think that's the context she spoke in. But that's it. So Ashkenazi Jew, they're saying Israel, just like Kingdom of Morocco, just like Jordan, just like Egypt over there in the Middle East. All that got created 1940, 1950s after World War One and Two. Now, that's the only context where you'll see Israel as a landmass. Like I'm traveling to Israel. Prior to 1940, Israel didn't exist. So now who are the Israelites? That's one. I'm just gonna say that. Now, two, the children of Yaqub. Remember, I talked about how did the Albion get created? They got created in Central America in an experiment from Yaqub. Yaqub, because this is now you're talking about the Bible now. Remember, it's no J, so we're saying Jacob, but we know it's no J, so we're saying Yaqub. They're gonna say Jacob in the Bible. They're gonna say Jesus in the Bible, but we know it's Yahshua. So Jacob's name turned. Remember, Jacob became Israel in the Bible. Most people that know the Bible, that they know his name changed to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So the children of Yaqub, or the children of Israel, are this new mankind that got created. The Albion. These are the children of Israel. These are the children of this experiment of Yaqub. The genetic pool, the genetic mixing, the gene splicing with the monkey to create a mankind that doesn't have melanin on their skin, but the melanin's in their eyes and hair. We created a new man on the planet, a mankind. That's one thing. Two is when we say in Central Africa, we're saying Central America. That has to be stressed. That can't be stressed enough. You know, like I always say in these demonstrations, when we say Africa, back to when we look that word of Africa, it's gonna say, oh, it's Latin. Africa is a Latin word. Who spoke Latin? The Moors. So the Moors come up with the term Africa to really only designate, like, the area was called Liberia. That's the only thing we call Africa. It's a Carthaginian territory. When you look up Africa in etymology, you're gonna say, oh, it's a Latin word, and the Carthaginians created it as well. We know Carthage, and that's the Moorish Empire, Carthage, right? So when you're saying, oh, I'm African, now we see how they try and put us in a trick bag. The Moors created the word Africa. So how are you gonna be African when we created the word Africa? You know what I mean? So I want to highlight that as well.
I had a question. Would the Asian, or what we call Asian now, Japanese, would they be products of offspring of Yaqub as well, or they? Yeah, because that they still have the pale skin, dark hair, I believe, or is that still or yeah, where do they come from outside? That's what I'm asking.
Well, once we start, mixing with the harem,
Oh,
now you start having lighter skinned people, but they got darker hair now. Darker. It's not the blonde hair, blue eye thing.
right.
They're starting to get mixed.
It'd be something like the Mongolian.
Right. Because after a while, you start intermixing so much, everybody amalgamated at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I get that.
So that's why we saying, look, man, it ain't about you. We can't play the skin tone game at this point. It's about allegiance, because everybody's mixed.
So true. I just like for and like you said, in just talking about it, I feel like we talk about it so loosely, no one really knows the lineage of you know what I mean? Like that's it's including myself. So like I like in talking about it and having the facts of that. So that's and it interests me as well. Like that's the only reason I'd be wanting to know the breakdown.
Good, man. Somebody else probably needed to hear it too, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
Oh, and as well with their like Haramura, or how would you say it?
Harems.
Bay, the first soul. Yeah.
Uh,
Hammurabi Bay. Yeah. I would like to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Rabia Bey. I would like to know a little more about her.
So when you look the title up, it's going to take you to the Code of Hammurabi, and when we talk about art of war, war tactics, you know, that's the originator of that. Most people look at the art of war and think of Sun Tzu. I think that's the most people give credit to him, but it's really, you know, under this regime of the first sultan. But yeah, look him up. It's gonna take you on that path of war tactics.
Okay.
It's gonna take you to the Code of Hammurabi.
The Code of Hammurabi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So how did Europe or Europeans conquer the world? Consider the preceding hidden history and follow the war records of the world, even up to the major world war that was considered as the most influential event to propel the Christian world into power. This is not to dispel or diminish the Crusades or the later Battle of Granada. The battle in question was the Battle of Tours near Poitiers, France, in the year 1732. This pivotal battle, sometime minimized in history, conjoined with apparent division and power struggles raging among the ruling Moors, spurred the later success of Christendom against the Muslim Moors at Cordoba and Granada, Al-Andalus, in 1492. This is why the year 1492 is used by scholars of the world to mark the axis year between ancient history and modern history, the old world or the Muslim Moors, and the new world, Christian European beginnings as a world power. What happened to all the empires like the Romans, the Moors, the Persians, the Chinese, the Spaniards, the British, etc.? How did they fall? The interesting thing about repeated conquest and colonization among the human family is that the ultimate outcome converges into blending and conjoining interests. Thus, the varied shades of skin complexion and distortion of world history by the way of deletions, name brands, book burnings, and oppression of the defeated Moors. If one does not have a reasonably well-rounded background studying world history, law, linguistics, ignorance sets in. Most of the failures of these former empires can be traced to corruption, invasions, conquests, and violations made against nature's law. This self-destructive anomaly, inhuman activities include the debilitating practices of idol worship, the suppression of women, dogmatism or dogma, despotism, and human caste systems. So if anybody asks you, how did it fall? These great people, what happened? That's what happened. 39. What is a race? Somebody got something?
Yeah, I wonder. After dogmatism, despotism. What is that?
Tyrannical government.
Okay.
Being a tyrant. Okay. Okay. What is race? And are there 5 races or just the human race? There's but one race, and that is the human race. The human race has expanded into a multitude of families, which are universally known as nations and nationalities. The 5 race category or subdivisions were contemporarily constructed by European sociologists and anthropologists for colonial caste system purposes. Yet, all social scientists and anthropologists are well aware of the fact that all of these so-called races have one human race origin, the mobile woman, who has been sociologically cast in modern history as the African woman. What is the old world order? What is the new world order? And what was the old world order? The New World Order is the unavoidable acceptance of the ushering in of right law, moral government, and isonomy principles, as were coded and embedded within the ancient derived Constitution for Government of the United States of North America. having its origin from the ancient Moabite Moorish cosmology culture. The Old World Order refers to the high cultural principles of moral government that fell into the hands of the pilgrims or peregrinos, conquering Christian crusaders, and also spurred by the destabilizing and excruciating destruction caused by idol god worship, the suppression of women, and human caste practices that allude to slavery. Since these violations of divine law have not been properly addressed and resolved, the fate of the present day fall of this corrupt, miscurrent social order is now an irreversible effect. What is considered old is only being renewed or born again. So that's the second time they said the suppression of women. And the reason I'm highlighting that is because I was what was talked about earlier in the chat. So I feel like that's divine that we are not about the suppression of women. That creates a imbalance in order. What are the 500 nations of the Americas before Columbus? The so-called 500 nations in America, North, Central, and South America, are essentially the expressed and divided tribes of Aboriginal full-blood, mixed, and amalgamated Moors and ancient Amexem. These Aboriginal and indigenous natural peoples maintain a matriarchal form of government. Here we go again. We keep talking about matriarchy. Just keep hitting it. And were misnamed as Indians by Christopher Columbus and other European explorers who thought these geographical regions were part of the continent of Africa, Asia. You got something, Yazir?
Yeah, I like what you just said because it's like in that first paragraph, all the tribes of original amalgamated, like all of them. So it's saying like if you had that mind frame still, you were still part of a part of this movement or this nation, which pretty much what we are aiming to do now. No matter what your skin color is, but where your mindset at.
Mm-hmm. And your heart, your mind, and your heart. Where's it at?
Yeah, Islam.
So who is King Yuba or King Juba, and what is his relationship to the Americas? Yuba is a chieftain or a sheik, right? Remember, chief, sheik, same thing. One's English, one's Arabic. Known amongst the defeated Moors of Northwest Africa, who have traditionally been referred to in history as slaves in North America. So follow this. This is a king of America that later is depicted as being a slave person. He was associated with the good spell system of mathematical rhythmic song and dance used for transmitting messages of military and freedom planning strategies. So it looked like we was dancing. It looked like we was singing. But we was developing strategies for the revolution. Like our brothers in Haiti, the Haitian Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
We communicated through these means. So the colonists couldn't understand what we were planning. Other banned forms of communication were veiled with song and dance strategies. Song and dance and popularized during the mid 1800s. This clever system efficiently moved suppressed messages and information among the people and was later adopted into rhythmic song and dance church culture. Yuba has lost its original form and is now called gospel. Hold on. So what we calling gospel really was the good spell dance. Now this is watered down. Of course, gospel is watered down what we're talking about, but the original conception of the whole dancing and singing was to strategize and plot on how we about to get up out this colonized state. We about to plan a revolution.
Can I chime in real quick?
Oh yeah, Islam.
Islam. So I just want to add to that. So I'm a professional African dancer for the Yoruba tribe of Nigeria. And so what we were taught as well is that there's a drum called the talking drum. And so that is absolutely true what you're saying. As far as the dancing and the drumming and stuff. So the drum on the strings on the drum, they change when you squeeze them, it changes like the vibration and the chord and how it sounds. And so absolutely, this is absolutely true what you're saying. I just wanted to chime in and give a little context behind that and how that was brought in and how the culture is in the islands, right? Because that's where a lot of the quote unquote slaves were brought or they were forced to take on Christianity. And so they were using the drumming and dancing to speak to one another in code. So I just wanted to add on that.
Islam. So when you think about gospel now, look at the singing and dancing and think about the origin and what it got reduced to. And this is a good conversational piece to do ambassador work. When we're doing our missionary work, speaking with the public, putting them on to this info, most of our people Christian. You know, you might hit them with this and they be like, oh man, like, nobody ever told me that. You open their mind frame up. And you're connecting the religion to culture. Culture came before religion. We created religion for our people that fell from the culture to get them back to the culture. You can never forget that. The good spells were called upon, invoked, and poured out to counter the bad spells of the slave makers' propagated Christian dogma, inhumane treatment, and forced servitude. The yuba is also the name of the long open coat garb which was worn by the Moors and other Yehudi or Hebrew or Jews and Muslims of the old world. The celebrative dance and activities that have relationship and origin with the natural peoples of the land of the Americas have been traditionally called Yubali, which is often known by the mispronounced word Jubilee. And most people who hear the word Jubilee, they're thinking about festive, a celebration, right? Jubilee. But Jubilee has an origin. All right, so 43. Who discovered the Americas? Was it Africans? Was it the Africans, the Chinese, the Vikings, Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci? Or was it always here with millions of people already living here? Answer: the whole scenario and story of the great Columbian discovery, etc., is a total fraud and myth. Colombo never set foot on the mainland of Northwest Africa or North America. He was deliberately diverted to the Atlantis Islands by Pedro the Moor. Remember, he got here because Pedro the Moor showed him how to get here. He didn't know. They didn't know how to travel the sea. They didn't know how to use the stars to travel the earth on the ocean at this time. Who was the captive emir or admiral and assigned to aid in navigating the Nino. So Peter the Moor was a Morisco, like we talked about last week. You have Moors, and so 1492, Granada fell. Now it's called Spain all of a sudden. Queen Isabella, Queen Ferdinand, European Moors colonized the Moors that were Muslim, that had empires, that had sultan. Shut that down. Granada shut down. Now the Moors that are Muslim are forced to be expelled or stay and turn Christian, turn Morisco. The Moors that left start setting up New Granada in South America because they knew their brothers and sisters was over here. We knew the empire was on both sides. We need to understand that. So now the Moriscos that stayed, such as Pedro the Moor, assisted Christopher Colombo under the orders of Queen Ferdinand and King Isabella. Colombo or Columbus was the admiral or a lieutenant. Think about it like that, a lieutenant, a foot soldier for Queen Elizabeth and King Ferdinand. The Morisco Moor that knew the whole world layout and knew how to navigate since time immemorial showed Columbus how to even get to the Americas. We can never forget that piece of information. That changed the whole situation. Columbus didn't know how to go anywhere. Right? He didn't know how to travel the sea. Keep these things in mind. Do we humans come from apes, fish, or Adam and Eve, or Eve and then Adam, or is it all a bullshit story and we all came from extraterrestrials or so-called aliens? Answer: no. The original human has no origin from anthropoids or fish. Adam and Eve is a cosmo, which is short for cosmology. So we're dealing with astronomy, right? Charting the stars, prophecy code for the firstborn of the hybrid offspring from the Garden of Eden, ancient Central Africa, Central America. In Central America, we have the Temple of Moon and Sun, just like Mexico, Belize, the Mayan ruins. These temples are called the Temple of Moon and the Sun. I'm gonna throw that out there. So, before I move on, because we talked about the Albion, now we're talking about the Albion in two contexts. So the Adam and Eve story, now we're looking at it from a different lens, or we can explain it from a different lens. Adam and Eve were not the first humans. Adam and Eve are European Paleolithic genetic beginnings, the beginning of modern man. So the modern man is becoming conscious. Oh, it's like a baby. Like, oh man, all these things on the earth, don't touch that. That might be some poison, whatever the case may be. It's like you gotta tell a baby, oh, don't touch that. So once again, let's understand the totality of the Sun book or the Holy Bible, right? The etymology of Sun book, like we talked about last week. The etymology of the Holy Bible is the Sun book. So it's everything in there is cosmological. All right. So the troglodyte digger and the caveman. And yes, some of the scientific technology used in the Ibrid experiments at Paradis Negros, Yakshilian scientific complex, and was both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. Who was Queen Khalifa? Where California gets his name from? And what is her story to the Americas? Khalifa was a Moabitess matriarch, the spiritual and temporal ruler and law, giver of the geographical empire territories now known as California and parts of Nevada. California was named for her. The royal Moorish rulership title, her name relates to the Khalifa or the Caliph. So just like any language outside of English pretty much has a masculine and feminine. So when we're saying Khalifa, it's feminine. When we're saying Morena, it's feminine. When we're saying Caliph, it's masculine. When we're saying Moreno, it's masculine. To give an example. So a Caliph, when you look up the Caliphate, that was just like you got the Khan. Some parts of our empire, we gave our ruler the name of Sultan. So our government structure was a sultanate. If our ruler was a Khan, it was a Khanate. If we had caliphs, it was a caliphate. These are just organizational structures that the Moors had in play. Just names for so the name of the higher up would change. Just to put more emphasis on what we've been talking about. She also proved to be one of the most ardent queen warriors against encroachment by Europeans into territories under her rule and protection. She is known to have inflicted many costly victories over the European colonial armies. So we was fighting off colonization in Khalifa territory. What is a straw man versus a natural being? It must be understood that there are two types of persons at law. One is the natural person, which is the living, breathing, thinking, biological creation being born from natural birth, by a living, breathing, thinking, biological woman, mother. The other person is a corporation, which is a legal fiction or artifice created by a legal process, the pen, and by law on paper. This is a band of straw or straw man. A straw man is also a weak or imaginary opposition as an argument or adversary, set up only to be easily refuted, being a person set up to serve as a cover for usually questionable transactions. The straw man person is written in all capital letters. Why today all Americans are suffering? The true Americans or Amarakans have and are suffering for past karma involving some results of miscalculated aspects of tampering with nature and nature's laws. The present American state of affairs involves both a dissolution of the past karmic debt from the Eber experiments, Hammurabi's Bay Declaration of 12 generation servitude upon the children of Israel, adopting idol god worship, the radical changes caused by the new age awakening of the primogeniture heirs apparent, and the ensuing confusion and hatred caused by the lack of the knowledge due to inquisitionists, past book burnings, miseducation, sociological and political misconcepts, misprison, government corruption, constitutional treason by the monopoly ruling quote unquote white supremacy network, and the graduating collapse of the color of authority, color of law, adhesion contract for all practices, the fall of pseudo-religion, and the accelerated rate and rise of knowledge and intelligence amongst the once ignorant and suppressed natural people of the planet. What is the fall of America? Refer to retribution justice, and the answer given in question 47. I was just thinking that too. However, America is not falling. America is a terrestrial land, being North, Central, and South America and the adjoining islands, the land of the Moors. The Great Fall is properly in dissolution and collapse of the corrupt European hegemony of white supremacy and of their debased dominance over Moorish Empire. In other words, the Moors are being redeemed and are becoming aware of the truth and of their great loss of state, which creates an end game. So the fall of America, of course, is not falling literally, and it's really the fall of Roman ideology in America. The people are waking up. It may be at a slow clip, but people are waking up. It's actually a fast clip when you compare today to like the 60s. A lot of our people are waking up a lot quicker. This in this Aquarian age. It may seem slow to us because we're in the movement, but things are happening. It's happening. Who are the Freemasons and what is their history to all of the Americas? Freemasonry is a fraternal order which is worldwide and is essentially an institution which preserves key knowledge, parts of the true human history, anthropology, philosophy, religion, cosmology, metaphysics, mathematics, science, liberal arts, world history, spiritual geometry, jurisprudence, law, moral government, astrology, alchemy, and the potentate powers of the planet Earth, etc. Freemasonry is Moorish science veiled and held secret for the purposes of empowering the few at the injury and enslavement and promoting ignorance of the masses. Knowledge is power, and if the ignorant masses chance to encounter truth, they will indeed become free. The suppressed Knights Templars, Knights Hospitallers, the Teutonic Knights were founded during the Christian Crusades, including most of the European orders, and were blended into the Masonic orders of North America during the 1800s and approximately 1859. Who rules planet Earth today, or is it really a secret? Masons rule the planet Earth, now fronted by the patriarchal European Christian Crusaders of the Church of Rome, which means red men of the Rothschild or red shield. All right. How to eat to live. And how do we eat to live? And who will survive the coming of hell on earth from the cleansing of Mother Nature, a living God? Go back to those knowledge and cultural principles of your ancient foremothers and forefathers and relearn those disciplines and earth sciences that comprise the ancient Moabite Moorish science and high culture cosmology. Within the context of your travels and studies, you will relearn the knowledge about the salts of the earth, like cell salts, your own constitution and makeup, and what natural foods are good for you or bad for you. You will learn those things necessary to live a healthy life, or you may choose to cause injury by violating the body with substances that harm. Within the studies of the oldest science on the planet, involving the master studies of the workings of nature called astrology, you will discover the food stuff that apply to your energy. Thus, will take action as the original man or the so-called God of the earth. The word God is a contemporary word. It is a verb transitive being dramatic in origin, arriving into language into the medieval period, about the 5th century, and should not be artificially injected retroactively into ancient history. The word God is an action word and is not in its original form a noun. Thus, it is wise to take action as the original man of the earth and remember that man is mind, and there never was a time when man was not. Your existence in the garb of flesh in the realm of earth requires you to partake in the fruits of the earth for the sustenance and maintenance of your body, your temple, while in the physical form. Mother Earth provides for you. So, back to Genesis or the book of genetics, when speaking of, we're here to have dominion over the earth. All this medicine around here, ginger, turmeric, all these spices, all this stuff is medicine to heal you. But we have a choice, but we have to be illuminated first to have the choice, obviously. So we successfully went through the 50 questions. There was an aspect of the earlier demonstration that I didn't get a chance to go into. Actually, I forgot about. And these definitions, these are unabridged dictionaries that I'm reading from. When you look up the definition of more ancient dictionaries, it sets a proper tone. So in this, a member of any of the Asian or African dark races, this definition is very inclusive and I like it. So anybody identified as being Asian, they'll look at the more, oh, I'm a part of this. Newer definitions are going to be like, oh, these are people from Northwest Africa, these Muslims from Northwest Africa. They kind of watering down the comprehensiveness of the more, right? Definition of Hittite. So of course, these are different tribes: the Hittites, the Moabites, all these tribes that are mentioned in the Circle 7. A member of the Hamitic people. Now we're talking about Ham and Cush, right? Mentioned in the Old Testament, even in the Bible. Circle 7, the Quran and the Bible, Ham is mentioned. But the habitation was Asia Minor, right? So we see the original in the Americas and the traverse, how we traveled over there. Definition of Moabite, a member of the ancient Semitic people. When we're saying Semitic, we're saying Jewish. So when you say, oh, they're anti-Semitic, that means somebody done bashed the Jews. If you talk about the Jews and the ABC gonna come out and be like, oh, this guy's anti-Semitic, right? So the Moabites were the original Semitic people. We still are. We're closely related to the Hebrews or the Ibri. An officer of the law, as in a bailiff. And when you look up more, it's funny they say the bailiff like that because it's equivalent to what they say 20 to 100 bailiffs. The one more. In this Moabite definition, they're saying the same thing. That's crazy. Yeah. So we look up more in the law dictionary, it's going to say one more is equivalent to 100 bailiffs or 20 bailiffs, something like that. And in the definition of Moabite, it's saying the same thing as officer of the law, rather than bailiff. We're here to enforce the law, right? That's what a bay is, right? Enforcer of the law. So let's look at some examples of Moors aboriginal to the continent of the Americas. Skin tone varies. But this is still the same family. These are the same people. Becoming a lot of different, prototypes or phenotype, I think. Or phenotype is the more proper word. Noble Drew Ali said, help me bring my people back into the constitutional fold of government. Now, this is a turban and a Tartary fez. Before I forget too. Further evidence of Asiatic Aztec connection to the continental America. See the definition of swastika. It was originally a religious symbol used in China or Manchuria or Japan and North, South, and Central America, and was a religious symbol of completion, good luck. Also symbolic of the cycle of the sun, the circle 7. The observer may see the letter Z overlapping itself or the number 7 in 4 positions. I see the number 7 in 4 positions. That's what I see. Apparently circular, therefore the circle 7. Just like I say, don't run from the Confederate flag, don't run from the swastika. It's not the KKK, and it's really, embrace it. This is your ancient culture. It's not a racist symbol.
You saw that over at the temple.
The Buddhist temple, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. This symbol is in ancient Buddhist temples right now. Because the Vietnamese community know it's ancient. We just sleep and tricked. Oh, it's just a religious sign. They tripping. How you gonna have that? You working for the Klan? How you gonna embrace that symbol?
In so many
Ignorance.
ways, they're making you hate yourself or your culture.
Exactly what that's exactly what they do.
Hmm.
For lack of knowledge.
Yes. Wow.
I wanted to highlight these feathers. No, Corsica. Where was he at? I want to talk about France. It's a flag in France. But I wanted to show y'all. Yeah, right here. So we talk about Napoleon. He was Corsican. They're gonna say he's French, right? The short guy. That's where you get the Napoleon complex. Short people complex. They're getting that from the guy named Napoleon that was going to war with our Haitian brothers and sisters at the time. But the flag of Corsica is a Moor. Still to this day. You go to France right now, Corsica, France. It's the flag of Corsica, this one. Why is the Moor the flag of Corsica? Because that's where originally the Moors was at. The original noble families of France. King Louis and the crew. These was all Moorish. Christian Moors, yes. They were definitely doing the Christian thing, but there was Moors. Dark-skinned people in rulership, nonetheless. Something else I wanted to show was when we're looking at this. So when we see these, we're talking about the Aztecs, we're talking about Indians or whatever, most people think Native Americans. We're talking about feathers, right? Talking about feathers. What headdress is this? Oh, I was one of the Native, you Cherokee, you Seminole, Aztec, right? So why is this referred to as a Moorish hat? This headdress is also called the Panaco of Montezuma. Montezuma is one of the most known Aztecs, or he's like a Toltec warriors. He was notably known for wearing this. Montezuma II's headdress was first mentioned in a European inventory in 1596 when it was acquired by Austrian Archduke Ferdinand II von Troil. It was listed there as a Moorish hat. It was likely an object sent from Mesoamerica. So we're talking about the indigenous Americans, how he was wearing feathers, turbans, and feathers. So embrace the feather. It's Moorish. Yeah, here's a better picture, actually. I like this one better. Matter of fact, that in ancient Cuba, I ain't gonna say ancient Cuba, Cuba in the 1500s, I seen pictures of our brothers and sisters out there with the same headdress on. Darker than me. It's Moorish, not Indian. And when you say it like that, you start uniting things. You start uniting people different. People that thought they were different, you unite them. Because they be like, oh, I'm wearing this. I'm Cherokee. I was really Moorish. And now you're gonna see if the allegiance is gonna kick in or not. Either they're gonna be like, no, I disagree, I'm an Indian, or I didn't know that. Let's unite. We just want to present the information so we can cut to the chase to see who we can unite with. Everybody's not going to just bow down to this information, even if they know it's true. Some people have pride. They want to stick to what they're doing, and that's fine. But some people are going to be hit with this information and want to unite. You just need to know the information to present it. That's the whole point of the temple uh, structure.
Islam, I had a question. This or that headdress right there makes me think of like a celebration. That they do carnival. Would that be pertain to anything that the Moors celebrate or a conquest or something? Like what is? How would you connect that to the Moors?
Where the celebration being held at?
Like in Trinidad, Tobago, I've heard. I know they do it in what's another place they do it. But I know Trinidad and Tobago is one of them. One of my good
Brazil.
friends. Brazil, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is all Moorish in origin, from the dance to the attire. I believe it's called a Morris dance. It's pronounced like Morris, but it's in my mind going somewhere else where y'all talking about. But yeah, now you see the connection. You know, not only was it feathers and turban, but we wore just feathers. Also
Yeah.
represent ascension as well. The feather itself, because that's connected to the whole Egyptian Book of the Dead and Ptah and the scales, and your heart, the feather on one side and the heart on the other side. Your heart's supposed to be light as a feather when you transition. Um, it's all connected, man. All this is connected. It's more science. So I'm going to transition to a verse in the Quran that we can close out and talk about the land project and where everybody at with that. Oh, before I do that, here's a situation with the cell salts. We talk about the salts of the earth, and we will have a cell salt business coming pretty soon here, maybe about 2 weeks, week and a half. We're getting to the point of launching, but just a visual. You know, we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks, but to see the visual of it, you know, whatever your sign may be, the 3 signs after you, you're going to need these cell salts. And that's the natural supplement. That is your true supplement. And also, you can see that the signs correlate to the part of the body, or rules a part of the body. I want to screenshot that. But we're talking about health. You need to incorporate your cell salts in your life. My personal cell salts, for example, are sodium phosphate, calcium sulfate, and silica. By me being a Virgo, for example.
So is that saying that your body naturally produces the other ones, being that you don't need those and you only need the ones from when you were born?
Yeah, because it's 12 total.
Yeah.
You in the womb for 9 months, so you always gonna need 3.
Okay.
Of course, the 3 after you.
The 3 after you were born.
Yeah, 3 signs after you and the correlating cell salt. And that's your supplement.
Could you go back to that chart real fast? Just real quick, not too long.
Okay. That's right. All right. Aquarius and Pisces too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Islam. Right. Chapter 1, creation and fall of man. So I'm gonna read this chapter and then let's talk about the land trust after we close out. The creation of fallen man. Time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time will come when it will end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No finite man can comprehend the things infinite. All finite things are subject unto change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. The bodies and souls of men are finite things, and they will change. Yeah, from the finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body, nor the soul. He is spirit and a part of Allah. Creative fate gave to spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. Gave him a body, a flesh, that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did creative fate give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative fate give a soul to a body of flesh that he might function on the plane of things that are made manifest? Hear now, ye world dominions, powers, and thrones. Hear now, ye cherubim and seraphim, ye angels, and ye men. Hear now, O protoplasm of and earth, and plant and beast. Hear now, O ye creeping things of the earth, ye the fish that swim, ye the birds that fly. Hear now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders and ye lightnings of the sky. Hear now, ye the spirit of the fire, of the water, earth, and air. Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or ever more will be. For wisdom speak from out of the highest plane of spirit life. Man is a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, for things that are concerned with time begin and end. The thoughts of Allah are the everlasting, of the past into the never-ending days to come. So is man, spirit man. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed held within itself the potencies of Allah. Just as the seed of any plant of earth holds deep within the attributes of every part of that special plant. So spirit man, as a seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of God. Now seed are perfect, yeah, as perfect as the source from which they come. But they are not unfolded into this life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed, must be deep planted in a soil that he might grow, unfold, as does the bud unfold to show the flower. The human seed that came from the heart of Allah was foreordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman or farmer or cultivator of everything that is, threw forth this human seed into the soil of soul. It grew apace, and man became a living soul, and he became the Lord of all the kingdom of soul. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit plane, vibrating not so fast. And in the slower rhythm of the plane, the essences of life are manifest. The perfumes and the odors and the true sensations and the awe of love are manifest. And these soul attributes become a beautiful body, a body beautiful, a multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. And here he tarries or works many ages until his lessons are all learned. Upon the boundary of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower, still, and then the essences took on a final garb. The perfumes and the odors and the true sensations and the all of love were clothed in flesh. The man was clothed in flesh. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life, and so a carnal nature was full manifest, a nature that sprang forth from fleshly things. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. And so this carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest, of protoplast, of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he gave up his birthright just to gratify his lower self. But man must regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Yeah, he must suffer the trials and tribulations, temptations, manifold, but let him know that the cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit of the mighty Allah who rule the solar stars are his protectors and his guide, and they will lead to victory. Man will be fully saved, redeemed, perfected by the things he suffers on the plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. When man has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served his purpose well, and then it will fall. There will be no more. Then he will stand untrampled on the plane of soul, where he must fully complete his victories. Unnumbered foes will stand before man upon the plane of soul. These he must overcome. Yeah, overcome them every one. Thus, hope will ever be his beacon light. There is no failure for the human soul, for Allah is leading on, and victory is sure. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah. And while Allah lives, man cannot die. When man has conquered every foe upon the plane of soul, his seed will have fully opened out, will have unfolded into the holy breath. The garb of soul will then have served its purpose well, and man will need it nevermore, and it will pass and be no more, and man will then attain unto the blessedness of perfectedness and be one with Allah. So chapter 1 always hits home very heavy for me, because I feel like it lays out our duties in this temporary experience we're having in the flesh, in the carnal self. And it becomes apparent that we descended to our grossest form. Things are vibrating slowly now. So now you can see the spacesuit. We're having a carnal experience. But while we're having this carnal experience, we have to ascend and wrestle with the flesh, wrestle with your lower self. Every day you wrestling with your lower self at some level. The whole thing is to master yourself and get stuff done. That's high vibrational. And keep building with other people that are high vibrational, and actually build something. That's where we get the dynasties. That's where we even get an empire. To get to the point where you humbling yourself to work with your brother and sister to build something great. That's the covenant. In all the holy books, that's what the covenant is. You know. But yeah, that's my piece on that. Any thoughts before we close out and then close the meeting and talk about this land trust?
Islam, I just wanted to thank you for and give much gratitude for reading chapter 1. I swear, whenever we get into the Holy Quran, that touches my soul, it touches my bones, it touches my spirit. It's like, oh yes, okay, there it go, there go my truth, there it go right there, because you know how it just breaks everything down, and how it tells us, like, you know, we are struggling, our temptations is, you know, was making us fall. um it just it hits home. The Quran is something that I'm so grateful for. I'm so grateful to be in this timeline. You feel me? At this time, because I know that the prophet was brought here for a purpose, and he was brought here so long ago, over 100 and what, 15, 16 years ago. You know, this was created for us, and it's sad that 100 and something years later, our people still are asleep. You know what I'm saying? But it makes sense. It makes sense to cover up this information. It makes sense to only let a handful of people get their hands on it. And even though we out here on the internet, in the flesh, really trying to wake our brothers and sisters up, like, hey, wake up, wake up. You're not Black, you're not Latino, you're not Hispanic, you Moors. We trying to unite everybody. And it's coming. I see it. I see slowly but surely that all of this is coming together. But I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for keep going, for keeping our legacy up, because I was in the same position y'all was in, right? I had a Sunday school going. We raised money. We had a temple. We opened a temple. We did a lot of those things that you guys are keeping, keeping things going and trying to do. And unfortunately, the organizations that I was a part of, when money got to flowing and things got to going, um, things went haywire and it failed. I'm gonna just say that. I don't want to take too much of y'all time or speak on my experience on what I went through, but um, yeah. So I thank you. I thank you so much, and it was a reason for me to be here. I stayed throughout. Even though I got the babies in the background, I'm cooking breakfast and lunch and this and that. I'm like, let me just stay. Let me stay. Let me stay. And I'm so glad to have been a part of this meeting today, just to be amongst my brothers and sisters and my family. I miss my family. I will say that. And thank you because chapter one just hit home for me, and I'm just like, here we go. That's why I was here today. Well, the whole meeting in itself. I just want to give much gratitude to everybody that was here. Y'all could have been doing anything else, and y'all here. We building, and we doing what we're supposed to be doing. And I just want to honor y'all for that. Islam, I yield the floor.
No, we appreciate those words, and this is why we do what we do to stay consistent. Because now we here. It's a platform that you can tap into. It's based on the consistency. You know what I mean? And that's motivating. So I'm gonna close out in prayer, and then let's talk about this land trust and see where everybody's at with that so far. And let's just brainstorm. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen. All right, so now that adjourned the meeting, let's get into the land trust. Let's do some review. And let's see where everybody's at thus far. So Alita Lopez Bay, I'm not sure. This is a new space, but you're more than welcome to, tap in with this land project. Essentially, this is a project so the Moors in this body can get land and start building on it, getting a garden, getting the community started, bottom line. We have a goal of 20,000. Ideally, 10. We did a demonstration with 10 Moors came together, $83 a month. We'll meet our goal in 2 years. But I feel it'll be faster just based on the miscellaneous. Cause I do missionary work about 4 or 5 days out the week. So it's going to be a point where we're going to get miscellaneous monies from people that's not even, it's like, okay, here. And that adds up too. So it's not going to, that'll take 2 years. So if you wanted to be a part of this, I can send you this, what I'm going over right now. It's a front and then it's a back. They got the QR code summary of what we're doing, QR code where they can send a donation to, and then we'll send you a fundraiser log. You will write their name down, how much they gave you, whether through the app or they gave you cash. Every first of the month, you're going to come and go over the treasury, how much is in it, count it physically, and see the participation thus far at that time. Who's made the deposit, et cetera, for transparency. So situations won't go down like you alluded to when it comes to finances. So that's the front. This is the back. I'm scanning the QR code. If they want to donate, put in the memo, land trust donation. And it's even a video from me and Nonel verbalizing what the overall project is about. They can scan that as well. Let me go over the. So I'm gonna send you this too, Alita, fundraiser log.
Islam, you can send it to me. I've seen it on social media, but if you send it to me, then I'll have it in my phone and I can always, share it or, do donate myself. Islam.
And this is the fundraiser log that I was talking about. If you choose to just, donate, that's one thing. But if you choose to actively participate in with the community and want to be a part of it, print this out. And friends and family let them know, like, okay, boom, this is what it is. And then just once a month on the Sunday meeting, present what you got, how much fundraising you did. Now, it's about 7 of us so far that are actually going to do the $83 a month. Now you can fundraise $83 or come out your personal pocket. We're advocating fundraising because it forces the people to get out with the public and tell people what we got going on. So it's like a double whammy.
Also makes it affordable.
And it makes it affordable, right? Because you might not can afford $83 a month, but you might can fundraise it or do half and half or 60-40 or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I think that's a great summary. Ideally, we're looking into getting like how they got the Girl Scouts in front of Walmart and Sam's Club and all that. We're working on trying to get in front of there for fundraising purposes because they giving away money. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I used to before I started doing what I'm doing right now for pop-up, I used to be in front of those venues, and it's crazy money, especially during the holidays. So they throwing their money, they giving their money away to something that we don't even know we're doing. They might as well donate to us. Why not? So once we get that established, maybe we can get it where we're in this. No, it's each branch. Okay, now I'm thinking if we get in, maybe any member of the organization can get in wherever they at their Walmart that's close to them. But I think it's each Walmart different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're getting there. But we can start with friends and family, letting people know that this exists. Everybody has a social media that they could promote that this exists. There's things we could do, right?
Yeah, you just got a donation from somebody recently, right? Just from talking about it. The DLs.
Oh yeah. Somebody donated $100 just from talking about it.
Mhm.
So you know what I mean? Just so that's the miscellaneous situation I'm talking about. Just
And that would cover the month if we were doing like the monthly schedule. I mean, really, we have like 2 years is kind of what we're gauging it, but
yeah.
it can fluctuate over time.
Mhm. So yeah, that was that. Now, anybody got any thoughts on that? Where everybody at as far as that space? I know everybody got different schedules and stuff. That's what I'm
I have
thinking.
a question.
Okay.
Just I just want to throw this out there. Is it like a nonprofit where you can give people receipts and they can write it off, things like that, or is it basically donation to a civic organization? Is that how we portraying it? Or
Mhm.
Yeah, if they no, they can't write it off because we're not a 501(c)(3). We're a trust organization. But if they want to donate because they like what we're doing, that's one thing. Now, if they want interest, like they want, like I'm donating, when y'all get the land, can I get an acre? Like they on that type of time, then they could join an organization. Joining an organization means participate in the meetings. You're learning about what this is about. Um, you have a thirst for learning, and then you're promoting what you learn. Not promoting, but you're putting it out there to you do missionary work. You letting people know, like, look, come tap in with us, Um, and you paying the dues as far as like $83 a month, or you're fundraising $80 a month. And that'll be apparent on the treasury report. It's going to be clear as day who's participating. So as months and years go on, um, that's what it comes down to. People that, oh, it's been a year. What do Bay and L aim is to beat? You have interest in the land, obviously, right? But if you just gonna donate and like I like what y'all doing and never see you again, they just donate. I like what we're doing. So that's kind of hopefully I answered that. Um,
Islam. Another question is, where is the land going to be bought at? That was my prop. Again, I don't want to keep bringing up my issue of what I had the last time, but that was our problem. Like we was all over the nation, right? And then our sheik went and purchased not land, but a building out with all of our money in Northern California. And then that was like a problem. Not a problem, but we all couldn't get there. It was just a lot going on. Some people did go there, whatever. Okay, but where is the land going to be purchased at? That's the next question.
Realistically, based on the research we did last summer at the auctions, we're thinking on the outskirts of LA County.
LA County, Riverside, just like outskirts where there's a lot of land.
So we're talking about Moreno Valley,
But
Palmdale,
California.
yeah, Southern California, yeah, Lancaster, Menifee.
Okay.
That's mainly because we're based out here in California, so we're getting land out here. But we've talked to people over in Arizona too, and they're interested in, seeing what we're doing to see how we could expand and help them get projects going like in Arizona. So this is the first wave. And when it comes to any decisions that are being made, we're gonna talk with the group about it because, we want to make sure that everyone's on the same page before we just go buy land. I like to do my research and know what's going on before I make any moves like that. So
Yes, with the land, what is the purpose is to create gardens, or we're gonna like build homes? What's the like?
Both,
Yeah,
both,
what's
yeah,
the okay?
yeah. So the reason we want to raise 20,000 because if we raise that, we know we can get 20 acres pretty easily. Um, so we want it to be where it's like a common area, and then everybody individually has some privacy, where you might have an acre to yourself, an acre and a half or whatever. But after that, we have two ways we can go about it. But the most feasible way I think is we get like lumber and stuff donated and we build it ourselves. That'll be cheaper.
or we can work with an organization. So there's an organization called Habitat for Humanity, and they're a nonprofit that like builds homes for people. They use volunteers. They get things donated to them. So we don't have to do everything ourselves. We can get help with other organizations that already do this kind of work. Um, so that's something I thought about because that organization also does land search and they also put land under their nonprofit and do the same work. But I was thinking of doing something like that, or we can come together and build it ourselves, or wherever. There's just so many different ways that we can go about it. It's more a conversation about, okay, what's the best way to go about this? Sorry, I
Just
took off.
wrong. No, I appreciate all the knowledge, and I'm just trying to get an understanding. Do you guys know Brother Cosmo L? He's doing that in Hawaii right now. Do you guys know that brother? Okay, so
Yeah,
something like that
yeah, yeah.
where we build our own stuff if we get the stuff donated.
Right.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of loans as well. You know what I'm saying? Just depending on how you go about it. And there's stuff that I'm also very knowledgeable on as far as like, you get land and then there's land grants. There's also loans and grants to build on. If we can get like well, we don't really need a grant writer because now we got AI. AI could do the grants for us, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm also knowledgeable about. I was also a part of the Compton Community Garden where we raised money to purchase that as well. We purchased that land. It's not that big, but over there also we do community work. I moved to Calabasas now. I'm in San Fernando Valley, so I'm not a part of like so much things that's going on in Compton right now, or just out there in LA. But so yeah, I just wanted to get some knowledge on, the whole purpose of okay, we raising this money. Okay, then we have to figure out where we're gonna buy the land. And then once we have the land, we have to figure out how to, cultivate and build on the land. Cause this stuff, it takes a lot, but then also it just takes a few great minds to come together and it's very possible to do so. I'm just questioning. That's all.
Oh yeah, I'd love to pick your brain on a lot of that information because it seems like you've gone down that route, and it's just we've gone down that route too, where we've been to the auction, and we're still kind of learning pave the way. But like you said, we need great minds to come together to make this happen. So if you're already going that direction, we can kind of talk about how you went about that, and because I want to put together like little committees where someone's in charge of, getting together what kind of fundraising ideas we're going to have to make it happen. And then someone's going to be part of the land search team, whoever's either studied in that area or wants to learn how to do that, because it's going to take a group of people to make it happen. And for us to continuously meet and to build trust, because I know that's really important, especially making a move like this, so I just want to say that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. So yeah, it was divine that you tapped in. Hopefully you got your juices flowing and you back motivated to, tap in with the Moorish paradigm. And yeah. Is everybody in the chat just, like I say, people busy, but at best, if y'all can just promote it on y'all social media, what we're doing, we're gonna make future commercials, um, talking about what we're doing as well.
I think we need to come up with a fundraising idea.
Yeah,
I think that's what
yeah,
needs to happen to kind of like help with pushing out the information. Because as simple as when we went to the gym yesterday, there's this guy sitting in the front. He just had some snack bags, and he was like, "This is what I'm doing. I'm accepting donations for whatever." And you get a little. People could give him $20, and you get a little snack bag. Just easy fundraising like that. Just little ideas we can come up with. I know some. Who is it? I forgot where they're from. But some other temple did like an online fundraiser with popcorn, right? So we can do stuff like that where we can even like have people that over in Arizona or wherever they're at can still contribute with the fundraising. But I feel like that'd be like the first step because not everyone's like just gonna go out there. I think a fundraiser gives like a little bit of something to kind of present to people.
mhm,
You know?
yeah. Uh, and like I said, I want to designate days where, like, I got the table, how we set up the table, but it's not the table. It's just strictly for the land. Like we're just, got the, you know what I mean? Now it's gonna be all, especially if we get in front of the Walmart Sam's Club, we might get like 500 a day in donation.
Yeah.
Really?
No, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I've seen people, I've donated to nonprofits in front of like Sprouts.
hmm
They'll give me like, oh, you want to do a continuous donation? Get your card locked in. You just continuously donate. Like,
Yeah.
mhm.
You gonna say something, Brian?
Man, how'd you know I was finna say something? I didn't
No,
even
I'm
have
tele-
it on mute yet.
I'm telepathic, man. Come on, man. We already covered this, man.
How you know? How you know? Top 10, top 10, top 10. That's really divine. On one hand, I was thinking too, like, we should all share each other's like social medias in the chat so that we can all follow each other and get the updates from each other too. So like if you post something, I can repost it. My followers can see it, and then someone can repost what I repost, and then they followers can see it. So it just get that little mass traction. Um, so yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. We all follow each other on our socials, whether it's Instagram or whatever, Facebook, whatever is available. And then two, I think it'd be really cool, like us men to get together and we get to, build our own houses. I feel like that would be nice. I don't know. That idea is just refreshing to me. But as far as everything else, I just think it's real beautiful that we moving in the right direction, and I'm just happy to see what it'll look like in the months and years as it go by. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I believe, it's beautiful, man. I agree. Everybody can put their social information, social media info, Instagram information in the chat. And yeah, let's put emphasis, man, like with reposting, let's get it circulating. Let's get it circulating, you know. Uh,
I had a question. I know we said we were gonna. I may have missed a little bit real quick. I had a family just came over, but um, I was starting April 1st. So are our dues and everything due at the end of the month? Or is it due beginning of the month or like the first Sunday? Or I don't know if I
April,
missed that or not or anything like that.
yeah, we'll start April 1st.
You do the count.
We're gonna do the account, see how much is in the treasury thus far, who already done donated. Um, we'll count how much is in there, and then every first of the month we're gonna do the same. So that gives you, you got 30 days
Okay.
to do some fundraising or come up with the $83.
Extra.
Yeah. For the land trust. For the land trust, yeah.
For the land trust.
And then I believe you got the printouts, right? I put it in the summary, the QR code, and the fundraising log. Everybody, I believe, should have that and be able to download and print it out. If y'all want to do that.
Did you send them in the group chat or email?
Yeah. I put it. I'll send it to you again.
Yeah, because I didn't get those because my phone was going through something. So if you can send those to me too, that'd be nice.
Okay, yeah. So Yazir Bay, and Brian, make sure y'all get that. And then so print that out. You can use that as a speaking tool. I know you at the college, Brian, so I know you can do some fundraising. Where you at. And like I said, when you get the fundraiser, just log it down in the fundraising log, name, as much information as possible. Because we do want to have a Rolodex of emails so we can, blast out stuff, current events to these people as well. But bottom line is they're gonna scan the QR code, they're gonna give you cash. Just indicate what they did and how much. And then on the first of that month, bring it to the table. I think that everybody's social media information. Let me take a picture of this. And yeah. And let's see if we can. Oh, speaking of the colleges, man, how's that working, Brian, with the college? You think I can get up in there as a guest speaker?
Yeah, honestly, you could just let me know when a time and date works for you. And like I already set up tables to promote stuff at the school. And we could just have it under Emoja, which is the black student, populace. And JBDL, he's the president of that club. So I'll just ask him for a charter and then you could come out, set up a table whenever you're ready, to be honest.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, just let him know, and then we could do it under Emoja, the Emoja student body, which is we have a center at the school called the Black Student Success Center. They don't know all their heritage, but there's a few people who are starting to, wake up to the idea. But you got two nobles there. You got me and Gail. So whenever we chop it up, the energy is just a lot for the people, so they always get curious. And we started to, plant those seeds in that area. So when you ready to come, just let me know. We get it started.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, maybe we can get some fezzes up in there. That's excellent, man. Okay.
You should sell fezzes there. If you sell, oh my goodness, you bring some fezzes and bro, oh my god, you're gonna have the student success looking crazy. We all look crazy. Yeah. That's actually a really good idea. But so we'll be connected. I got my phone on, and I was just talking to DL yesterday. So yeah, we can get that started. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. It's long.
It's springtime.
Spring and summer coming up. Yeah, it's our time. It's our popping out. All right. Well, if anybody's got any thoughts before we close out, I think we talked about everything, right?
One more thing I want to mention. Sometime like in April, I want to attend the live auction for California for the land, just so anyone that wants to kind of know what it looks like and like what the bids are looking like. Like I was looking at it yesterday. I was showing Mafi. There's bids starting as low as like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. And that's why like we have this goal and we can get to it pretty quick. And I was seeing of course we have to do more research and due diligence, but I was seeing 6, 8, 10 acres of land. And we're saying 20, but really to get things started, we don't need so much because it's going to take time for us to build on it. But that's a start. So I think the auction is like April 15th or something. So I want to register to get a ticket. To get a ticket's like $5,000, but I'll just throw it in whatever so I can show everybody on Zoom like what it looks like. And then we can kind of go from there. That way everyone understands the process of like getting the land too. I wouldn't want everyone to be in the dark, like, all right, we're just gonna get land. Like, I want you guys to see what it looks like, and in case anyone wants to participate in looking for the land and stuff like that, it'd be really helpful.
Mhm.
That's all I want to
I
say.
just wanted to, Mhm.
Sorry.
I just wanted to say too, when we were land shopping once before, they had like a time of the year, how like they have Black Friday. They had a time of the year where they had like land for sale, but you had to pay like a full price, and then it was like something about like you get it for basically a cheaper price if you paid full price. So if it was like 18 and then it went on sale for like 12 or whatever, if you paid full, obviously you get that deal. So they have deals basically throughout the year or just once a year or something like that. I can't remember, but something like that. I remember it was like a Black Friday sale or something like that. So we should keep that in mind as well. Because if we got the money, we can catch one of those sales, catch one of those deals.
Was that online or where was that at? Where you guys found that?
You know what? I was speaking to one of the ladies that was actually helping me one time. I was speaking to somebody. I don't remember exactly where it was, but they had land everywhere from Lancaster to Moreno Valley, Riverside, outside of LA County, mostly way back, pretty far, like Palmdale area. Outside of that the more of the areas towards like Vegas and stuff. So, but she was just letting us know that they have those kind of deals at times. So it was out here in this area. Well, kind of where we would be looking. But just to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody, anybody else have any more thoughts before we close out here? All right, so we got everybody's social. Make sure I follow everybody. And yeah, well, peace and love, everybody. Hope everybody have a good rest of their Sunday. And feel free to reach out to me at any time. Peace and love. Islam.
Peace and love, Mars. Have a
Islam,
good
peace
day.
and love.
Islam.